Are you ready to hear the story of my 8th property acquisition? Well, if you're not ready, you should get ready because this one's exciting. Now, if you remember, I did my first cash purchase and I was in Ohio, and that was for about $20,000 for a duplex. Now, I was just dumbfounded and amazed and so excited about that process and how smooth and easy it was buying with cash. And so I started looking for more cash opportunities, naturally. Now, not long after that, I decided to buy in that same market again. And this time though, I was looking with a friend. So up to this point, I had never purchased a property with someone else. This is just a point of personal growth. And so I've come a long way, but my thinking before that really was just like, I had tried several different business ventures with people and it just didn't work out. And I have a hard time when I want to move at a certain pace and the other person doesn't necessarily want to match that pace. Or maybe they want to match that pace, but there's something happening in their lives or personality wise or whatever it is preventing them from moving at that same pace. So that's one challenge that I have. And then another challenge that I have is sometimes when people propose a partnership, they're actually not envisioning the same thing that you're envisioning. And so I've learned that it's important to communicate really early on what exactly you both mean. So for instance, I've had partnerships in business where one person expected more of an employer-employee role. Now, I don't even know if they would have been able to articulate this, but they essentially wanted me to tell them what to do, when to do it, etc. And I was kind of like, well, we are joint business owners, so we should just do what needs to be done and, notify the other person or, ask if they're okay with it. But I'm not going to delegate things to you like an employee. So that was one point of misunderstanding. And then with a different venture, we just couldn't agree on how to fund the business. So when you're starting a business, there's a ton of different options. Like you can bootstrap it, you can get a loan, you can go for venture capital, whatever you want to do. And I just wanted to bootstrap it or get a loan. I didn't want to give up any ownership, so I didn't want to do the VC route. And so the other person wanted to do the VC route, and we just couldn't really come to an agreement on that. So that didn't work out. And then just in general, like with different partnerships or like joint projects, even joint ventures, like I've just had a hard time being on the same page with other people. Like I really need a business partner who matches my level of urgency, who matches my energy. And I know that I'm a high energy person, and I know that I'm like a little aggressive in terms of business, and that's not the vibe that everyone's always going for. And so I shied away from doing more business partnerships with people just to avoid frustration and feeling like I've lost time trying to figure something out when I could have gotten so far doing something by myself, which sounds horrible, but that's honestly how I feel. But anyway, by this point, I was like, okay, I've heard multiple times that real estate is the kind of sport where like you can go fast alone, but you can go further together. Or is it farther together? I don't know, one of those. But I was like, okay, at some point I'm going to need to use OPM, use other people's money, like leverage other people with the same interest and spread some of the risks, spread some of the costs. Like I knew that at some point I'd have to jump back in and get on board with working with other people. And so I had a person in mind. I was like, what better person? I think we're very much on the same page. I communicated to this person some of the challenges I've had in the past working with or collaborating with other people. And they were very receptive and understanding. And so I was like, okay, I think that we could probably do something together. And, maybe that was the mistake I made all along, like not really being super clear up front with what my expectations were. And they weren't super clear about what their expectations were. And so, we were missing each other. But anyway, with this person, I was like, okay, yes, let's go in and get this property together, right? So we actually made it a point to look for properties together. So we had a system and had recently done some trainings together, paid a lot of money for a very detailed training program. And when I say a lot of money, I mean like $40,000. And, started getting educated together. I was like, ooh, we are clearly in this together. And we had already created an entity together for investing, but hadn't bought anything yet because we actually had tried a partnership with someone else. That didn't work out. Anyway, we decided to go for it. So I told them about this property that I got in this Ohio market, and they were really excited. And so we started looking. And what she found was this house that had some fire damage. So my house that I bought before actually had fire damage as well, the one that I bought in cash. And so I wasn't foreign to the fire damage issues. And so it had some fire damage, but this house was like crazy though. Like a huge chunk of the roof was missing, and it had squatters in it, I believe. It was honestly all over the place, but it had a huge backyard, and the house was very big, right? It's like 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, very nice layout, great hardwood floors, but like it was struggling. This house was on the struggle bus and needed a ton of work, okay? And neither of us had seen it in person, so we're just relying on this real estate agent to send us photos and videos of the property, and then also relying on a contractor to go out and give quotes about, what needs to be done. And we run some numbers based on the quote that the contractor gave. Now, we had already decided we were going to use this contractor because this person was working on my duplex and had very low overhead, and so the pricing was really good. And it was very unusual, right, to be able to do that level of work with that price. Now, this contractor was charging us around $20,000 to do this full renovation, put on a new roof, all these things. And we were just like, whew, that's crazy, because the property, I forgot what they wanted for it, but we ended up paying like around $14,000 for it. So he's quoting $20,000 for the repairs. And then when we did the CMA, the comparative market analysis with the real estate agent, we were looking at being able to sell it for about $80,000 on the low end, and then even up to like $120,000, $130,000 on the high end. And so we were like, this is nice. Like, these numbers are looking good, right? And so we were saying, like, what if though this contractor is actually not able to do this work for that price? Because that's kind of low, right? So we even put in, we were like, okay, what if it's $50,000 to do, to make these renovations? We're like, okay, that probably wouldn't work, but if it's around 30, 40, that probably still work. And if it does end up being 50,000 or more, then we'll hold it, right? We'll hold it and probably do a cash out refi, put some tenants in there until it makes sense, because we also looked up the rental rates. And specifically, we looked up the Section 8 rental rates, and it was looking nice, okay? We were like, this is a win-win in more than one scenario. And so that's a key thing. Like, if it can work in more than one scenario, it's probably something to consider. So anyway, we decided to move forward. We purchased the property, another cash purchase. Oh, so quick, beautiful thing, love it, very efficient. I just really like cash purchases, and I just wish I could do it more. I know it's not the most strategic, using OPM is great and all that stuff, but sometimes, I don't know, you just can't beat a nice cash purchase and not having a mortgage and having to deal with all that. Anyway, fast forward, this contractor has so many issues. Like, I'm talking about just straight up lying about what's gonna get done, what got done, then getting injured, like, was it torn ACL or something, so couldn't do nothing for months, but probably wouldn't have done nothing anyway. Like, I don't even know. Just severely behind. Now, thank God we didn't have a mortgage, because if you can imagine, there's already a small level of stress in just the contractor being behind and not really being on top of it. Now, imagine we had this monthly payment on top of it. Oh no, like, he would have had to go a long time ago. And so honestly, I feel like we dealt with so much with this contractor because the price was so low. And it's kind of one of those, like, you get what you pay for kind of things, in my opinion. Like, you're paying these very low rates and, to this person who has low overhead. But what you get in return is poor customer service, lack of responsiveness. Well, actually, no, I take that back. The customer service is actually great. Very flexible, very apologetic, willing to knock money off, like all kinds of things because it's your fault. But anyways, delays in the project completion, you're dealing with all these things, but I mean, you're paying very low, So I think it's one of those you get what you pay for type of situations. And we've actually considered like firing this contractor because, I mean, nothing has really been done. Like, I've visited twice actually, and I didn't see much of a difference. Like, the roof was still partially missing. First of all, the tarp. So we had a tarp put on it. The tarp had blown off. So now, in the rainy season, water's coming down the roof into the property. It's looking crazy. The contractor's like, don't worry about it. I'm gonna take care of it. I'm like, how you gonna take care of it with your broken knee? Like, please make it make sense. So anyway, I visited twice. Didn't really see much change. My business partner is getting frustrated, like, bro, what is happening? So we finally agreed to seek quotes from other contractors. Now, these other contractors are not quoting us anywhere near, of course, what this other person is quoting. Of course they're not. Like, I'm talking about $20,000, $30,000 more than what this other person quoted. However, they're probably gonna finish the project in like a month. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, do you want to deal with the cheaper price, but it may take a year to get it done? Or do you want to bite the bullet and pay more and get it done faster? And so we decided we would like to get it done faster. And so my business partner, has been contacting the contractor, being as aggressive as possible. Like, I need you to get this done, blah, blah. Or you're going to have to give us our deposit back, etc. And it's not done. So this contractor, technically, today is the day, May 31st. Okay, it's May 31st. Today is the day that he's supposed to be pretty much done. I am willing to bet money that he's not, okay? I'm willing to bet money. You know what? I'm going to be giving updates on my Instagram story. So check it out. Follow up to see, like, is it done? I beg you, it's not done. And if it is done, I'm going to give you $1. But I'm pretty sure it ain't going to be done. So then the agreement was, if you're not done by May 31st, we're just going to call it quits. You're going to give us a partial refund and we're going to go ahead and hire someone else. So that's how that one's going. We purchased that in January of 2024. Okay. And it is May of 2025. So as you can imagine, and at one point though, we weren't even really worried about it because we were both involved in so many other projects. We were like, I don't even want to dish out the cash to, move forward in this project. So I'm actually fine. So like, I think there was like a maybe 6 or 7 month period where neither of us was even really bothered. And we were kind of like, okay, hope he doesn't ask for another draw because we don't want to pay. Because we were like trying to buy in another country, like all these different things. And so we are partially responsible for that delay. But still, like, come on, it's been a really long time. So that's property number 8. It is still in progress. We can talk later about what the strategy is going to be for that one, but I'll briefly tell you, we considered the flip, but we actually decided to hold it for a bit, collect some of the Section 8 checks. If Section 8 still exists, oh, Lord. But, collect some of those rent checks, recoup some of that money, and then go ahead and sell it. So stay tuned for the update on property number 8.